Welcome, Aries, to your Aries December 2020 reading, tarot reading. It's great to see you, particularly great to see the subscribers. Lots of love and blessings to you. Do you know I keep you in mind all the time and send love and energy to you when I'm doing my special meditations. If you would like a special meditation done for you, just drop me a note, and that is free. And of course, if you'd like a clairvoyant reading, then just check out the information that's in the description box below. But now let's draw 5 cards, shall we? And we'll see what there is to say. There is the Server of Discs. This one is what? Oh, the 8 of Wands. So it's a particularly good card for you, I think. A lot of fire in it there for you. Here is Death, card number 13. Do you know, in the old days, they didn't call it death, they just referred to it as card number 13, because they were concerned about actually uttering the word of death. But it doesn't mean death in that sense, and for you, I think it's a particularly good energy. There is number 5, Spiritual Leaders. And here we have the Chariot. Excellent set of cards for you. Why don't you have a look at the imagery on these cards with me while they talk to me, and I'll let them know what they mean for you. Now, next month's reading will be published on the 9th of December at 2 p.m. US Eastern Time. Very, very good set of cards here for you, Aries. Let's have a look at this middle card, shall we? That is that of Death. Well, the child of the great transformers, the lord of the gates of matter. This is Mars ruling Saturn, and I think with Pluto exalted. Very, very interesting set of energy. And what does it have to say for you? They're talking here about grieving and letting go, as they say. Well, as I say, this reading is probably different to most of those that I do, but I'm very much driven by the artwork that's in here. This is the card of death and rebirth. Something old is dying, making way for something new to be born. Often what is dying are old patterns, ways of being, and relationships that no longer serve you. As you release what is fading, there is an uplifting quality to the energy, and it moves to a higher form. The change is thus evolutionary. Now, the figure in this card rests her head on a sphere as she, well, I suppose, as she contemplates death. 2 spirals issue out of the center of this sphere, one descending and one ascending. Energy spirals down into matter and up into spirit. Since matter is the realm of impermanence, it's not around for long. Every form that comes into being will also pass away. Now, in this painting, the human form returns to the earth to become part of the terrestrial body. At the very bottom of the card, and you may be able to see it here, as I can, is a snake. And that is a symbol of transformation. And here it is in a spiral position, which further reinforces the sense of evolutionary change. Now, in the ascending spiral, the dreamer's light body, I suppose I would call it, it's moving upward, isn't it? And it is received by what might be called a spirit guide or an angel. Even in the darkest hour of death, you are not abandoned. If you can open into the pain of death on any level, you will meet the support of the deeper dimensions, whether you experience this as your spiritual nature, invisible helpers, or your own psychological capacities. You may also find yourself held in a loving way by other people and animals who are close to you. You won't reach this level of support or the transformation that is possible if you turn away from the reality of death or the pain that accompanies it. Not the pain of your own death, but the pain that you feel on the death of other people. Because this turning away is instinctive, of course, and it is also supported by our culture at large, isn't it? We may try to deny a loss in order to protect ourselves from pain, or play little games inside to make it less real. We don't want to let go. Part of letting go is grieving. You can't fully integrate a significant loss and move on without going through this step. Grieving is hard work. It means feeling the crushing weight, the emptiness, the sadness, the anger, and the depression. You have to let the loss become real to you. You have to say goodbye, because grieving requires and builds many inner capacities. It takes strength and courage, an ability to hold pain, and compassion for your hurt. The pain will break up more quickly if you can be with it full on. This requires the ability to immerse yourself in the experience and at the same time to detach yourself from it. You must see that these things are thoughts, feelings, and sensations, and not the whole of you. Something inside you is dying, dissolving, disintegrating, whether it be a structure you have created, a pattern or a habit or a way of thinking about yourself and the world. Now this is necessary for new beginnings and transformation in your life. A period of great transformation is coming forward for you. Maybe even a moment of facing your darkest fears, but remember, the darkest hour is just before the dawn. And in order to grow and to develop, you need to abandon the old. Death is your protection against stagnation. You are being forced to leave behind what you have ungrown. It's a time of cutting to the core of things and getting rid of the old and allowing the sunlight in so that new things can grow. But you know, we all experience death. Certainly we do ourselves at one point, but we experience it when we see the death of other people. And you ask yourself, what am I to make of death? But to know what to make of death, you must seek out the answer in the heart of life. The owl whose night-bound eyes are blind in the day, he can't unveil the mystery of light. And if you would behold the spirit of death, open your heart wide unto the body of life, because life and death are one, even as the river and the sea are one. In the depth of your hopes and desires lies your silent knowledge of the beyond, and like seeds dreaming beneath the snow in winter, your heart dreams of spring. Trust the dreams, for in them is hidden the gate to eternity. For what is it to die, really, but to stand naked in the wind and to melt into the sun? And what is it to cease breathing, but to free the breath from its restless tides, that it may rise and expand and seek God unencumbered? And only when you drink from the river of silence shall you indeed sing. And when you have reached the mountaintop, then you shall begin to climb. And when the earth shall claim the limbs of your loved ones, then they shall truly dance. And as if to reinforce the message of that beautiful card, which they never used to call death in the old days, they just used to call it card number 13, because they were superstitious about the word of death. Here we have what they're calling loyal friend. I might call her the princess of the echoing hills, the rose of the palace of the earth. Now there's a lot of Aries around here. There's also Gemini and Taurus, I think. This represents someone who is beautiful and strong, pregnant with life, kind and benevolent. And to carry on that theme of the transformation that is coming through for you, with that death card, this represents you, I think, being benevolent and kind, and in particular following your will or true purpose in life. So this is about getting in touch with that most important aspect of you and protecting it. Now, there can also be a physical pregnancy around here, certainly the birth of ideas, and it represents a productive time for you, I think, after what may have been something of a barren stretch. Very much the feeling of motherhood. Very, very good for domestic life, and so I see gatherings of people and interaction with people in your home or in other people's homes during this period. There is something new entering into your life, so prepare yourself. And maybe ask yourself, what must you do in order to be ready for something new to come into your life? And say to yourself, I am now ready for the new beauty in my life. But looking at the title that they've given here, A Loyal Friend, and I see a couple of dogs down the bottom there, and dogs are certainly great friends here. And this is the server of discs. Well, what am I to make of that? Well, the server portrays helping others in everyday ways. When you apply this to the suit of discs, as it is here, you ask, what helps you in your everyday life? One answer is loyal friends. People who really show up for you and who you can count on. And the dogs here, I think, represent that friendship energy which is around here, because dogs are loyal friends who are there when we need them, and as depicted in this picture, they often accompany us on our journeys, really. Now, the server of discs, I think, is more about helping in practical ways. It is feeding friends' pets when they are out of town, bringing food when they are sick, helping them pack to move. It's staying to do the dishes after a big dinner party. Although I'm focusing on the context of friendship here, you can perform these small acts of service any time. Letting someone into a line of traffic, holding a door open, helping at the scene of an accident. Well, they're all expressions of this card as well. And the satisfaction you may accrue in helping in these ways depends on your motivations for giving and your feelings about the exchange. If you're giving or helping when you don't really want to, then there's going to be resentment and an inner withholding that robs both you as the giver and the recipient of pleasure. The same is true if you're giving in order to obligate the other person or to gain power in a relationship. If there are strings attached, you're not giving freely, and the spirit of generosity is absent. Now, this is an interesting looking card underneath it. Let's have a quick look at it. Well, they've said it's what? Taking the Hierophant off the pedestal. Indeed. And entitling the card Spiritual Leaders. Well, there's, as you might gather, is very often called the Hierophant, but they're calling it taking the Hierophant off there. Well, I suppose, what can I make of this? Rather than one male authority figure being the Hierophant, as is in most tarot decks, that one male figure that is the enforcer of orthodoxy, well, the title and picture here show us that spiritual leaders come in a variety of forms, and we don't need to limit ourselves to one teacher. Now, this card shows, doesn't it, 3 women of different races. This, of course, is only a sampling, I guess, but it does reflect the variety that's around in our world. The fire at the bottom of the picture, down here, that represents, I think, the basic kundalini, or life force, which rises up the spine, opening the various chakras. Now, the woman of color squatting on the ground represents the lower chakras and the spiritual traditions, I suppose, of African shamanism that teach you how to work with that energy. Her physical position, it seems to me, reflects the fact that she is close to the earth. She honors the earth and all its inhabitants as part of the sacred. Teachings concerned with these chakras also include, well, Tantra, I suppose, that shows us how to work with sexual energy, but I'm not going to go into that. Now, the middle woman is Native American and represents the middle chakras. She is extending a candle to others, which fits with the fact that the middle chakras are more involved with interpersonal relationship and communication. This figure represents the spiritual teachings that relate to right speech, right action, right relationship. And the third figure can be associated with, well, with particular religious figures, I suppose, such as the Virgin Mary or Mary Magdalene in the Christian tradition, or Kuan Yin in the Buddhist, with Parvati, the wife of Shiva in Hinduism, Khadijah, the wife of the Prophet Muhammad in Islam. And they're all associated with the highest forms of love and compassion. And she represents, I think, the upper chakras and those teachings that tell us about visions, guidance, and dissolving into the light. Now, although I use the word higher and lower, it must be understood that these are not value judgments, because I think that the energy coming through here is saying that all are part of the whole, and that cutting off or repressing any part leaves you incomplete. Now, I would say that at this time, it is not time to go and bring about a revolution in practical or material affairs. I think it kind of indicates the need for you to go with the flow. Just go along for the ride at the moment and follow rules and regulations and traditions in particular in your life. Just see them as traditions which are part of your culture. You don't need to buy into them mentally and assess whether or not they're true or not, but live with them. And I think it could also be a period of intense learning and education. I'm getting the position of marriage around here, so I suspect that you will be hearing of engagements or marriages, and again of children. And I think that's also the case that you may be finding that you have or become a teacher or advisor to somebody else. Large gatherings of people is what I see, and seeking counsel and advice, and people coming to you and asking for your advice. Now, there's a very interesting card here, and particularly for this time of year, because I see a lot of Sagittarius in it, is this of the Eight of Wands for you. Now, let me just have a look at this painting here. What do they call it? Well, they call it a dream time. Well, I don't know what that necessarily means, but I can say this, that the picture is painted from an aerial perspective. A woman is flying, journeying in the astral body, it seems. She is aware of her light as well as the light of source. I think that therefore this is a reminder that there are whole universes out there that are actually in here waiting for you to explore. And they can include things such as out-of-body experiences, astral projection, meditation, lucid dreaming, the in-between states, which the Buddhists call bardos, I think. But it's good to, and I'm not going to talk a lot about that, because it's good to remember that not all energies in these realms are benevolent, just by virtue of being non-material. Some of the energies that inhabit these realms are not very refined. So you should always be aware that these darker energies are attracted by fear in particular. Now, whether astral traveling or going through the bardos that I speak of about the Buddhists as points in between, the clearer you are, the more you can bypass these energies and go straight to the light. But there's a lot of spiritual training that's important to do prior to just experimenting with that sort of thing. Now this is of course for me, Mercury ruling at the first decan of Sagittarius. Now they call it dream time, I call it the Lord of Swiftness. Now Mercury in Sagittarius, the first decan, the cardinal decan of the Sagittarius sign. Mercury is the planet of communication, and Sagittarius has the swiftness of the arrow, and this is going to produce in you something of a restless intellect. Now I think you'll be overcoming obstacles, and I've got this chariot card coming down here as well. And you'll find that events are moving very fast. A lot of social gatherings, blockages being removed, opportunities arriving quickly. Manifestation of results that you have been working towards are just about to happen. You should know at this time that you can transform any situation, problem or obstacle by taking swift action here, because this is a very high energy card for me, this energy here. And it also highlights the need for clear communications to manifest the things that you want in your lives. I think that this is talking about a refinement, a swiftness of energy. So you need to be clear with others and manifest things for the highest good. And I think you can expect to be very busy, as I say. And there's a lot of energy here propelling you forward. You may find that you complete projects that are underway quickly. But you need to determine where your energy is going to be directed and make sure that you focus your energies. Is there anyone to whom you do not dare openly state where you stand, or use this opportunity to open yourself up more to those people who mean something to you? Talk to them and say to yourself, my openness and self-confidence opens the hearts of those I love. And then finally to the chariot here, major arcana. Fantastic card for you to have, I've got to say. What's this got going on it? First of all, it's called Agent of Change. Very interesting. Indeed, well, it looks to me that the image on the painting here is the chariot is drawn by a horse. Now, I think that this could be seen as harnessing your power and energy in the body. The chariot is like a magic vehicle in which the woman is riding through the heavens in tune with her destiny. Use this as a reminder that although the task you are involved in may seem very ordinary, it can also be part of your greater unfoldment. Now, change is coming around. It's all around you here. And very often this change may not be of your doing. But in the chariot, you become the agent of change. This card represents taking the reins in your hands, harnessing your personal will and getting things done. The image represents charging ahead, but doing so in a more feminine way. Often when we charge ahead, we do so with blinders on, ignoring ignoring everything that is not on our agenda. In haste to get things done, we can run into obstacles because we're not being fully sensitive to the moment, to our needs or to others. And so you can lose contact with the larger harmony and with the larger flow. But in the more feminine model, you stay in touch with these things and use your knowledge of natural cycles and honor the times when your energy ebbs, symbolized by this dark moon here, I think. Part of the wisdom of success is taking days off when you need to. This doesn't mean to say you lose your focus, but you soften it. You rest while holding the focus. You understand that there are times for resting, times for plodding, and times for charging ahead, and you honor all three. You also don't ignore the rest of your lives just because you're concentrated on a goal. Remember the need for balance. Now, this is speaking very much of a victory over adversity. You've come through something of a difficult time, I think, and now it's the case that you're overcoming it and you're going to have the courage to act. It's all very well having the desire, but now you're also going to have the courage to act. And you're going to have success over previous life patterns. Maybe even quite a focus on self-discipline, I think, here. You're going to find that this is a turning point in your life and things start moving forward for you. What areas of your life are going to be changing, and are you ready to ring out the new, to ring out the old rather, and to ring in the new? And say to yourself, I motivate others positively. I am responsible for what I cause. I accomplish things well and with ease. I am putting my life in order and preparing for the new beginning. Fantastic, Aries. Well done. Good job. That's the way it is for you this month. Well, I thought that was going to be good, and it was. I hope you enjoyed that reading as much as I did providing it to you. Now, don't forget, make sure you check out your 2021 annual reading. If you're a subscriber, of course, it's delivered into your subscription box, or just have a look at the playlist that's on the channel. It's being published the day before Thanksgiving in the afternoon, US Eastern Time. But look, remember one thing always, and it is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, it's bye for now.